Here I am, in the place to be. Mr. K and B, you can't fuck with me. Extra sexy, extraordinary. Palms are hairy, your mama pop.
What up, y'all? It's Kang, the Sexy Ninja, in the place to be for a Paper Saber universe. This is the Sexy Ninjacast. A podcast about KMB, the Sexy Ninja, his loves, his interests, his desires, his pleasures, his hatred, everything under the sun. I'm a little late to the party on this, but I wanted to talk about it because I've been thinking about it for the past few days. And Johnathan Majors was found guilty. And Marvel Studios immediately was like, yep, now you're Kang the Conqueror no more. You're Kang the Conquered out the door. So now everyone's speculating like, oh, they should recast and everything like that. John Boyega's name was thrown in there as well. And I was like, John Boyega would be dope. They did him dirty with Star Wars, man, with the whole Finn and everything like that. So this could be an opportunity of a lifetime. And then I'm just seeing like, I was just move it over to a new villain. The Avengers Kang Dynasty is now being referred to as the Avengers 5, I believe, in the timeline, right? Am I correct right there? Yeah. So this will be Avengers. Avengers, Avengers Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame. This will be 5 because the second movie was the sixth movie was going to be The Secret Wars. So this one's just being referred to as Avengers 5 now. Okay. I had to correct myself there. But where do we go? I've been having this problem with the MCU as of late of where are we going in this universe? Like, it was a clear window from the get-go that we were building the Thanos. You know, even though in the first Iron Man movie, it was just a teaser, just like, there you go, you know. But at that point when the seed was planted, it just grew into this beautiful thing when you got phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4 really hasn't found its voice. You know, there's some things I don't think we're going to pay it off. We're not going to get Hercules, you know, versus Thor. We're not going to get some other things like Shang-Chi's end credit scene and everything like that. There's just a lot on the table, and then they have all these shows tied into it. It's like, well, are they going to pay off? You know, is this going to pay off? And I just got done watching Loki season 2. And Johnathan Majors was fantastic in that movie. The show. And I was just like, so when I heard all this and it was coming down and everyone's like, yeah, well, if Kang doesn't work out, we're going to switch over to Dr. Doom. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But, you know, I think it's a great idea to change over to Dr. Doom. But I don't like unfinished storytelling. This isn't the DCEU. There's a lot of end credit scenes in the DCEU that just don't have any payoffs, and it just makes me sad. And I don't want Marvel to succumb to that. Why don't you just recast, build up to Kang, they defeat Kang, and then you have the Secret Wars right afterwards, you know. But I don't know. I'm really sad about this. I thought Jonathan Davis is this marvelous actor. I saw him, you know, I was like, this dude is it. And then unfortunately this circumstance comes in and it just derails his entire career. And Marvel's sitting there, and I had this notion. I thought of this while I was being prepared to do this podcast, was like some Sony exec was asleep, wakes up, looks at his phone, sees the news about Johnathan Majors, runs to his boss. Hey, boss. Hey, they lost their main villain for this MCU, so the Spider-Man verse is gonna kick Disney's ass. That's what I just thought. Sony's like, oh shit, our big Spider-Man universe, we got Madam Web that's gonna make a shit ton of money, and Kraven the Hunter's gonna make a shit ton of money. You know, we're building the Sinister Six without Spider-Man even around. We got Venom 3. Oh yeah. The Sony Spider-Verse is looking fantastic now that they lost their main bad guy. But on the flip side of it, MCU is just, it's been all over the place. You know, like, I didn't like Ant-Man Quantumania. I liked the Kang in it. I thought Kang was really cool, but he got conquered by Ant-Man and Wasp. The Marvels got me back on track, because if you listen to my review, the Marvels made me like, oh shit, okay, we can have fun again. We can have fun again with this universe. Let's tease the Young Avengers, let's tease the X-Men finally, let's finally get to that. And lately, and that's the thing too, is like, as much as this is like, fuck, Kang's gone, let's recast or let's do a different villain, also benefits for Marvel because they really haven't been building Kang up in anything else besides the Loki show, and Quantumania, when all the variants of himself got together, like, hey, we're getting together, fuck yeah, and I was like, I remember that was the only thing in that movie that made me go, oh shit. But I was still confused, because I was like, wasn't he the banished one, the exiled one, the one that was too extreme for y'all, but he got defeated by Ant-Man? But there's theories out there, like, once he got sucked in, after Ant-Man and Wasp and whatnot, and he gets sucked in, and then that's when we see He Who Remains. That's where that goes to. There's so many theories out there that I've seen fans talk about, and some theories I'm just like, that sounds stupid. But for me, as a fan of these movies, as a fan that wants to see the MCU thrive, I want to see these movies thrive, and it's like Aquaman 2 that's coming up here soon. Aquaman 2 is destined to fail. Warner Brothers has washed the blood off their hands and said, all right, they didn't even do a red carpet premiere. They didn't even do a whole big old thing like they usually do here in America and everything like that. Like, the cast together. James Gunn didn't even show up, but Jason Momoa, they all showed up to the premieres, a fun, friendly, screening of the movie. I'm seeing reviews here and there. The embargo for the movie did not lift until today. It's a Thursday. Is today Thursday? It's something like that. Yeah, but the embargo for the reviews did not get released until today. I'm going to see it tonight. I'm excited to drop that review after we do it. But I was just like, damn. The superhero movies had a stride for a second. And then superhero, burnout happened to a lot of folks. Not me. I'm all for these movies. I'm like, I've been waiting for this day since I was a little fat kid. I've been waiting for all these superhero movies. And now it's slowly being taken away. And I'm like, no. Do you think the superhero movies will be back on top? Because the next big one is Deadpool 3, which I think will do fantastic in the theaters. But also, too, with the superhero burnout, look at what Oppenheimer did. A biopic movie, and Barbie, a movie that just came out of left field. Two fantastic films, but showing that we're sort of craving new movies, new franchises. We're craving something new. But also, too, on the flip side of that, you got a movie like The Creator, by Gareth Edwards that dropped. And a lot of great reviews, but it didn't blow up in the box office. It was something new. It was something different, We got Rebel Moon coming up, and I've heard nothing but chat on reviews for Zack Snyder, which I feel really bad, but I'm probably gonna enjoy it. This was his Star Wars film that he pitched, and they said no. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just change some names, and here we go. I'm gonna make my Star Wars. Rebel Moon, A Child on Fire. So everyone's like, I want new, but you don't. And I would say the closest thing to the best movie of the year for me is Godzilla -1. Not just a IP, not just a franchise, not just this, but a movie. A movie that really took me to a whole new level of appreciation of why I go to the movie theater. This is why I go, because I want to be taken away and my breath, literally my breath taken away. Yeah, there's moments in, I would say coming close to that would be Guardians Volume 3. It's the end of a trilogy. It's so sad. I can't look at an otter without crying. But Godzilla -1, and they're going to put it in black and white, and I want to go see that version too. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. Godzilla -1, I think of that movie. And I remember just turning to Doug when we went and saw it. I looked at him and I was like, hey man, what you think? And he goes, I forgot what good movies are. Movies, hard M, folks. And I was like, whoa, because Doug don't like anything. And if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, I realized last night there's a certain point of podcasts that are not on this channel. So if you're on the YouTube version, if this is where you're rocking with us on the YouTube version, get ready. there's a lot of podcasts that are going to be coming your way, especially from me and Doug. Like, I found our Aquaman review. It's on there on the streaming platforms. If you're listening to Spotify and all that, yeah, that's out there right now. But if you're on YouTube and that's the only place that you're rocking with me and everything like that, I will drop that episode here soon. I'm probably just going to just call it Sexy Ninjacast and toss it out there into the world and everything like that. And because I couldn't find, like, our Endgame review is not on this channel. Yeah, after we went and saw Endgame, Aquaman review, there's a couple other movies that we've done that are not on this channel as well. So now I was like, oh man, I have to put it here. I have to archive this shit. Like, because I had this realization, I've been doing this for so long, and I went back and watched a Shazam review. I did. I laughed so hard because me and him are in the car, and going back and watching these things, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna see a skinnier version of me, right? Nope. Still the chubby K&B that we all have come to love. And I went back and watched it. I was like, oh man, my hatred for Aquaman. Holy shit, my hatred like that, like in the Shazam review, if you look in the Popflix playlist, I was like, this movie destroyed my fandom of the DCEU. And I'm like, man, so much hatred to the dark side K&B was going to, you know. And I recently watched it, and I think I brought it up on a podcast before. I took my brain, I was like, you know what? I'm going to rewatch Aquaman. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to see what I feel about it. And I rewatched it with the idea of it's a James Wan film. Momoa is Momoa. And I had a good time. And I really sad about it. I remember, like, I think in the review, one of my praises of the movie was Mira. Like, I thought, like, when she had that wine scene, when she's got the wine and everything, and there's certain elements of that, then it's like, oh, Amber Heard. It's like, literally, when I remember playing the movie, Amber Heard comes up, I'm like, damn. Tainted, but I'm just going to barrel through this movie, you know, as best as possible. So, but Aquaman 2 is right on the horizon, and it's just going to do bad. You know, I feel really bad about that. It's just going to do bad because, like, someone brought up the point of, like, as soon as James Gunn announced the new DCU, as soon as he was like, yeah, no, everything starts with Superman. Then we move forward, this like, I think, like, 10-year plan or whatever, like, of movies and stuff like that. And, you know, Batman's Brave and the Bold by the guy that directed The Flash and everything like that. As soon as I think that announcement happened, everybody and their grandmother stopped giving a fuck about DC. They're like, why am I going then? What's the investment? But the bad thing about that is, on the flip side, it's like Blue Beetle is such a good movie. Like, Blue Beetle is fun. Blue Beetle is a beautiful like thing about family. Not Fast and Furious wise, but the you know, if you have not seen Blue Beetle, I advise to watch Blue Beetle. I tried to get my wife to watch it, but she's at that superhero burnout where she's like, I don't care. You know, she didn't even get to go see the Marvels with me, even though she loves Captain Marvel and everything like that. Like, you know, and I think those were the two movies this year that surprised me. Blue Beetle and the Marvels got me so excited for the MCU. I was like, okay, let's do this, man. Let's just get this going. Let's get this rocking. Let's get this popping, man. Then a major blow about Johnathan Majors hits. Where do we go? They take the Kang Dynasty thing off. And I think they should stop doing that. Especially when they do in Star Wars, like Kathleen Kennedy. They're like, look at all these projects. They got dates and everything like that. Like, why don't you just naturally let these movies just flow out? Then you can announce them once production starts. You know, once you know that there's some form of film being done, like, then you can be like, hey, this is our slate. This is what we actually got going. Everything's written, and here we go. You know, and I you know, and take time with these movies. And people are like, oh, they should have recast Kang, blah, blah. Why not? They already recast Mr. Fantastic, and it's going to be Pedro Pascal. You know, that's what I was seeing on the rumor line, and Pedro Pascal being Mr. Fantastic, which is great. I like Pedro. The Mando, this is the way. But, you know, it's a drastic change from his variant that looks like Jim from The Office. You know, so that's where another thing with this MCU thing, the multiverse thing that they did, they kind of cornered themselves. They cornered themselves in the multiverse even though that's what the multiverse was created for, was to get out of these little, like storytelling wise, be like, oh, well, we'll just reset the universe. That's what we'll do. We'll just reset the universe. That's what we're going to do. And that's a big thing. You got to thank DC Comics for doing that with the Infinite Crisis, across the DC universe. Like that was a point where they told them, like, hey guys, there's too many things going on at once. You got this many Supermans, you got this many Flashes, blah, blah, blah. Let's have this big like crossover event that will explode and make it into one universe, one Superman comic, one Batman comic, one this, because everything was going crazy. There's multiple versions of these characters and out there like that. You still got the golden age of superheroes like Alan Scott and whatnot. Let's just break it down into one universe. And then they kept track for a little bit. Then they got all crazy again, and they're like, okay, Flashpoint, let's reset this bitch. Rebirth, New 52, those are those things that like you'd be like, oh, it's the multiverse. It didn't matter, it mattered to me, but that was the sense of the multiverse, and I think that Marvel has missed the ball on that, especially with Multiverse of Madness. Even though I do really like that movie, I think we could have done some really cool things, in that movie to showcase more of the multiverse. But no, they didn't. And, I will say even the Flash really didn't handle the multiverse really well, because the Flash movie was a little bit of a mess of that. I was talking to Doug about that the other day. I was like, so since he went back in time, took the tomato can, put it up so his dad could look at the camera and everything like that, and gets pushed out by Dark Flash, which is him. And we got all these worlds colliding because he keeps trying to save Supergirl and Batman because his younger self can't handle death. Okay, so when he gets kicked out of the timeline trying to fix everything, goes back, Batman is like the 89 Batman, but we're still dealing with Man of Steel's stuff with Zod, but we don't have Henry Cavill, but we do have Supergirl. Like, I just feel like they just were like, yeah, this is the multiverse. I was like, but that doesn't really make sense. Like, why would we have a totally new Batman? Nostalgia. I know, but I know that, Warner Brothers, but like, it's just one of those things. Like, a multiverse could be used very simply. It could be used as a tool. But I think that, the whole spaghetti thing, I like that concept, because that was like, it was a concept that was so stupid. He's like, here's the spaghetti. Then he gets the spaghetti and throws it in a bowl. He goes, there's your multiverse. Trying to explain why we have a new Batman that's here. Why do we have this? And then when Barry goes back and his dad gets off, whatever, and he goes and it's George Clooney's Batman. It's like, what the fuck? And originally, from what I heard, that was supposed to be Christian Bale's Batman. And I was like, I would have liked that a little bit more. I think the George Clooney thing's funny. I really do. But also, too, it was like, oh, okay, And there was really no hints of 89 Batman's past, It was like, he's there. Hey, guys. Hey, look, he's there. He's got the bat turn and everything. Hey, he's doing things he's never did in other movies. But besides the point, back to Marvel. Where do we go? So the next big movie is the Deadpool movie, which is going to feature the TVA. If you haven't watched Loki, you should watch Loki. And they're going to be tracking down Deadpool, because if you remember at the end of Deadpool 2, at the end of Deadpool 2, he goes around and he goes through time. So that's going to set out the TVA to go after Deadpool, and he's going to go through the multiverse of the Fox universe of like all these characters and stuff like that. So we're going to see everybody. If you see the leaks and photos too, you saw that Wolverine has his actual suit, which is going to be badass. Sabretooth is in there from X-Men 1. So then there's like a big, if you're hearing this for the first time, I'm sorry, but it's been out there. And there's this big, like, in rock clothes thing on the side of the wall that says Fox, 20th Century Fox and whatnot. And it's going to be crazy. And I think Marvel is definitely banking on that. And I think with Deadpool 3, you should really just be like, okay, this point going forward, this is the villain we're building to. Because everything else before really hasn't been doing that. With Wakanda Forever, that movie was just like in tribute to Chadwick Boseman and everything like that. It was very sad, but there was no credit scene or anything like that because it's just like, why would you do that in that movie? Of all movies to do that to. And it ended a certain phase, because I think we're in phase 5 now, if I remember right. That was the end of phase 4. And you look at Black Widow. Black Widow was cool. Black Widow was fun. Guardians 3, of course, was great, and Doctor Strange was fun. But they never really were like, because at the end of Doctor Strange, it's like, that Thor is like Hercules. It's like, oh, well, what about Kang? Oh, he's in Ant-Man Quantumania. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So someone's going to die, right? Someone has to die in this movie, right? No. He gets conquered. Oh. How shitty can it be and how low can it be that Kang the Conqueror gets beat by Ant-Man and Wasp? Nope. We want to take it lower with the legal system, folks. Oh, my God. He probably was like, you know what? I'd rather get beat by Ant-Man and Wasp all days of the week. But hopefully we'll see what happens with his career. There's probably stuff in that trial. Like, I don't want to speak on the trial because I'm just like everybody else. I've seen what's, the videos that were, the audios that were posted and stuff like that. This. I don't know what more evidence was shown in that trial to make them be like he's guilty. It's, that's just one of those things that just sucks that, Marvel just was like, yep, peace. And Phil said, they were waiting. But Marvel was in the snipers booth. It was like, all right, it's not guilty. All right, we can not. Oh, guilty. Bomb. Boom. Bam. That's it. I say recast. I say if you really want to do bang for the buck, you really want Kang the Conqueror to come here, I want to see Kang the Conqueror in a really big light. And I think you prematurely were like, put him in Ant-Man Quantumania and see what we could do. And I think that at the end of that movie, he should have escaped or killed somebody. I think Scott should have died, or Scott's daughter dies. I had that, I was just like, okay, not ending on a happy note. And, or when Scott's walking down, he's like, oh, yeah, we won, right? We won, right? There should have been some form of Kang's variant that just walks by him. And Scott turns around, he's like, oh, fuck. And that's how you end the movie. Not this whole like, oh, yeah, cake and all this and that, besides the point. And it was, I don't want to talk about that movie no more. But established the Young Avengers. We got the Young Avengers coming up. That's what we got in the Marvels. We also got the X-Men. They're in a different universe, but they're there. We got Beast and everything like that. So just give us more. And I hope that Deadpool 3 is the savior that movie needs to be for the MCU and get us back on track and showing that these movies can be big blockbusters because, they have not been having a great track record and losing and then having a year where the top 2 movies of the year, 3 movies, I take that back, 3 movies of the year, Godzilla -1, Barbie, and Oppenheimer. So, for me, Godzilla all day. Like, that movie, you know how I feel about that movie. So, all right, y'all. Tell me what you think of the Marvel. Where should they go? Should they recast Kang? John Boyega as Kang. As soon as I heard that, I was like, fuck yeah. Give John Boyega another chance here because, Finn got done dirty. Or if they're going to do the Rey movie, bring Finn back in that. I know Poe, Oscar Isaac is done with the character. He says, I'm done. I'm out, They, the sequel trilogy left a bad taste in his mouth, and he's like, yeah, I'm not coming back. But I was like, come on. Never say never, right? That here's the money, though. And he's like, oh, sign me up for 5 movies then. All right, y'all. Tell me what you think of the Johnathan Majors thing. I think they should recast, and I think you should just stick to your guns and have Kang still be the big bad guy. Then set up Doctor Doom as the next one. Don't give up on Kang. That's my thing. Don't give up on Kang. You've already put his footprint on our throats. You already put his boot on our throats, and I want to make sure that we keep it that way. We got Thanos. Give me Kang the Conqueror no matter what. I want to see him fight the Avengers. And, that's it. That's all. All right, y'all. Tell me what you thought of this news. Should they recast or should they move on to Doctor Doom? Because that's one of the biggest heavy hitters right now that they're talking about because they got the Fantastic Four movie and everything like that. So tell me what you think. Drop those comments below. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Share with your grandma, share with your grandpa. Share with the mom down at Walmart. I am K&B the Sexy Ninja, and as always, stay sexy, ninjas. Whoop whoop!
Let me take you home.
And then, what are you going to do?
Win.
Welcome to the wicked shit.